What's up, y'all? We are live here on the No Ceilings NBA Draft show here on the No Ceilings NBA YouTube channel. We're also going to be on your podcast player of choice. I'm Stephen Gillaspie of the No Ceilings crew, and I'm giving you my immediate reactions to the Texas Tech Red Raiders versus the Illinois Fighting Illini game. Look, there was a bunch of great games that we could have talked about today. I know a lot of y'all tuned into the Louisville versus Kentucky game. Michael Brown Jr. had a fantastic game, but I chose this game because I felt like we probably could have had more in-depth breakdown of both teams, and I was kind of proven right. Michael looked great, but today we're going to talk about a handful of prospects that are looking to find their way into the NBA draft conversation. Now, first thing I want to start with is Illinois looked great. I was sending some messages back and forth among the group chat just to talk about how much I feel like that Illinois is the perfect representation of an NBA team in college basketball. What do I mean by that? They have a great lead guard in Colin Boswell. He had a fantastic game tonight. He looked good on both sides of the ball, gave a lot of effort. He got to the free throw line. He made his threes. He attacked the basket. He made sound decisions as a playmaker. I mean, he finished with 22 points, 3 assists, 2 boards, 1 steal. He was 5 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 5 from deep, and 9 of 12 from the free throw line. So obviously, there was a lot of great things that we saw from him in that game. Now, I will say that he might not be the best NBA prospect on this team, but he made a great impact. There were some other great impacts made on this team as well. Andres Stojakovic, the son of Peja Stojakovic, who Peja was in attendance for this game. Andres came off the bench. He played in 26 minutes and had 23 points. He had 3 rebounds, had 3 steals. He was 11 of 16 from the floor overall, missed his only three-pointer, but overall he had a fantastic game. I think that the biggest thing that I took away from this outing from him is that he showed a lot of fight and fire on both ends of the floor. I thought that he looked fantastic defensively up against Christian Anderson. We're going to talk about him later. I felt like he limited Christian's ability to score and get to the bucket. Okay, that's how I felt about that game for him. Offensively, he got to the cup at will. He made some tough shots over the likes of JT Toppin, and a litany of other guys. Lawan Watts, who I might talk about him here in a little bit from the game as well. But overall, I just felt like Illinois proved to be a formidable opponent, and I think that they're going to be tough. I mean, if you look at the depth, we touched on a number of players. Keaton Wagler, or Wagler, I think is how they're pronouncing it. He looks great. True freshman wing, kind of taking the place of Will Riley, who is now, Washington Wizard. I thought that he looked great. There's some shade and sharp stuff to his game that I would pay attention to kind of long term. Prior to this game, he had a few 20-point outings, has looked great for the Fighting Illini. This was his first real test as a freshman, and I'm pretty encouraged by what I saw. Speaking of freshmen and looking encouraging, David Mirkovic, who anyone who listened to me talk with Ryan Hammer from the Blue Blooded podcast knows that we touched on David Mirkovic. He looked great, a 6'9" forward, 250 pounds. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Like, Illinois looks like an NBA team. Zvonimir Ivicic, starting in place of his brother Tomislav, who was out with injury. He looked great through stretches of this game. Illinois just wins the game 81-77, looking awesome. Now, the other side of the court, the other team, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, they have some guys who a lot of people like as NBA talent and NBA prospects. We'll start with JT Toppin because he was kind of shown the brightest in this matchup. He finished with 35 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, was 17 of 25 from the floor, 1 of 2 from deep, missed his only free throw attempt. Crazy that they only credit him with 1 free throw. I feel like he got to the line a lot more than that. I'm just going off of what I got from the box score here. Overall, though, JT Toppin was just a robot. He did struggle a little bit in the first half with the size and the length of Illinois. And when I say struggle, he was still pretty efficient, but you could tell that he felt kind of bothered by the presence of some of the bigs and the size of Illinois. But went to the halftime, came out in the second half, and just completely dominated. He looked fantastic. As far as his draft stock goes, I don't necessarily know what more he has to do if he's gonna change if he's going to change any minds in terms of if he's going to change any minds in terms of NBA draft stock, things like that. It was really weird. I feel like he has some height concerns. That's really what it's going to boil down to. A lot of people are going to want to know whether or not he if he can play the 5 full time like he can in college. That's really what it's going to come down to. I think that with the double big lineup being kind of prevalent in today's NBA, he might find a role. I think that there's going to be Norman Rad in the chat says Brandon Clark. There might be, some other kind of hyper big man roles out there, energy big man off of the bench because he's making defensive plays. He's making a defensive impact. He just looks fantastic overall. I think that he's going to have to really maybe show off the three-pointer, I think is really what it's going to come down to. But he rebounds like crazy. We all know that rebounding is a skill that translates very well to the NBA. And I feel like he's going to be able to do that at a high level. He finishes in the paint a lot. He likes to get to that little kind of turn the corner post hook shot, and it looks great. I think that that's going to be ultimately what helps him find a footing in the NBA. But the small ball 5 has sort of lost its luster if we're paying attention to trends in the NBA. Teams want big players that can make good decisions. He did have 6 turnovers. Again, I feel like most of those came in the first half whenever Illinois' length was really giving him problems. Overall, though, he had a very productive game. Now, I want to have a little bit of a hard conversation here because if you're a Christian Anderson fan, there's some things that you saw in this game and that you liked, okay? If you have concerns with Christian Anderson, I feel like those were kind of highlighted and illuminated in this game. Ultimately, though, I don't know if your mind's going to get changed from this performance. I feel like it's a good data point, though, because what we saw was Andres Stojakovic when he came off of the bench and he was kind of the primary defender, the point of attack defender against Christian Anderson. He really shut the door on him in driving lanes a lot. Now, Christian Anderson did finish with 11 assists and 2 steals, so there was a lot to like from his performance in this game. But if you're looking to draft him high, I don't know how you can look at how Stojakovic, who doesn't even start for his own college basketball team, granted, he could start for a lot of other college teams out there. As a matter of fact, he started on his team last year. However, if he's not starting for a really good college team and he's giving Christian Anderson problems, those are the types of concerns that I have for him moving forward in terms of his NBA projection. He was only 4 of 12 from the floor at 33%. He missed every single one of his three-point shots. He was 0 of 6 from deep. It was hard to watch that and come away impressed with this game, but as we've seen in the early going so far, there have been some bad games from some high-end prospects. And what do you take away from the game? For Christian, I take away that he can find open teammates, that he can play good defense. He looked really good on people not named Andres Stojakovic. Stojakovic was just on a heater and could get really to anywhere he wanted to go and overpower people. We did even see Colin Boswell go to back Christian Anderson down. Now, Christian also grabbed 3 rebounds. He looked good on that front. And some of the turnovers were really advanced. Some of the assists were really advanced. So I don't know if you come away more impressed, less impressed, anything like that in terms of Christian Anderson in his stock and whether or not you feel like it should change. Not going to overreact. I know that that is a point of conversation amongst draft Twitter is overreacting to data points. This is a data point, and this is a good one because, again, going up against elite size, good defense. Andrei Stojakovic really put the clamps on him, made his attacking angles that much more difficult to get to, a lot more difficult for him to be able to get to the paint and have the defense collapse. A lot of his passes were kind of strung along the perimeter, but they were effective. If you have Christian Anderson high and you see this game, I don't know if it gives you pause or not. I truly don't. For me, who I have Christian Anderson in the first round, don't know if he is lottery level talent, but I do like him in the late first. And what I've been saying since summertime is that the quality of the guards in this class are going to impact the quality of the class in general. And that might seem like a low hanging fruit statement, but if you've been paying attention in this class, there are a lot of good guards in this class that look phenomenal. I just would be curious to see if he's not a lottery level guard, if he wants to stay in. And I can make that same case for guys like Darius Acup Jr., who had a bounce back game against Central Arkansas today. I can make that same argument against a number of guards in this class. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Just keep this data point in your back pocket. Look to see how he does against good defense and good length over the course of the season. And maybe that impacts your decision making. Maybe it doesn't. But for me, I'm going to make the decision to bounce out of here. I just wanted to touch on a couple of key points from this game, share them with y'all, give you my instant reactions to the Illinois Fighting Illini and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. A couple things I'll leave you with before I go. One, pay attention to Keaton Wagner. Again, I see some shade and sharp stuff in his game. And if you watched Juke Harris and Wake Forest in their game earlier today, Juke Harris is a monster. He's a machine. Pay attention to him moving forward, and he could make this draft class even more fun than it already is. But I'm going to get out of here. I'm Stephen Gillaspie at No Ceilings. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch up with y'all next time. Much love.